Want to know what you should never do? You should never share any financial amounts or holdings or basically what it is that you've got in crypto on social media. And in the last video, I did actually mention that we had sold off half a Bitcoin. It wasn't because we owned a full Bitcoin, just to make that clear, but we put half a Bitcoin into alts. But I thought I'd better show you the context of what that means so that any crazies out there don't suddenly think that I'm loaded and they're going to try and find me wherever it is in the world that I am. And I do move all the time, so catch me if you can. But here's what it is. Let's go back and look at right back here in 2023. It says here, just on the screen, if I move it over a bit more, that the low was 19,000. And when I was just doing little bits of buy-ins of Bitcoin through the bear market of 2022, my average buy-in price was about $21,000. So I'm close enough on this chart to show you sort of what happened. The price that the Bitcoin was at when I actually sold, because I had accumulated up to half a Bitcoin, and when I sold that Bitcoin, because it was pretty clear that the bull market was about to happen. It was a few months, or about sort of 6 months until the Bitcoin halving, or a bit less, and that was the momentum going up. I mean, really the sort of upward market had started earlier in 2023, but I didn't catch on to it until the end of 2023 as it started happening. So I was a bit late to the party as such, meaning that I hadn't, got a good stash of altcoins previously to watch them all rise up, and then, perhaps I would have taken some profits on them. But ultimately what had happened was the markets had already started moving, and I decided that, okay, the alts are really starting to go crazy. Let me get in on some. So that was sort of like first mistake, because I was sort of playing that chasing, or that, what do they call it, the FOMO game, fear of missing out, just keep going. So there's a green candle on here. In future videos, I'll explain why the candles are coloured here, but that's not for now. This is just an explanation of why I'm not loaded. So the price of Bitcoin, somewhere in this green candle, it was somewhere between October and November that we sold out the stash of Bitcoin that we had, which equated to about half of a Bitcoin. So the price there, if you can see over on the right, it says 32,000. So that seems about right. It was somewhere between $15,000 and $16,000 that we actually took out of Bitcoin and went and invested into altcoins. Now, this is where the hurtful thing comes in, because if I move this over and then show you where it's at the time of recording, we just hit a all-time high, like a all-time high, a new one again. And this is a weekly chart that I'm showing you here. So Bitcoin is now at 113,000. So quick math on that. Half a Bitcoin is got to be what? 55. Let's get the calculator and actually do it. So 113, say 500, that's a nice round figure. Oops, clear that. Divided by 2. Okay, $56,750. That's what I would have had if I just held the Bitcoin. I could have been trading it, doing the swing trade, which is where, as it does go up and down, as you can see, it's not a straight line up. That just accumulates more Bitcoin if you do that. But I'm not at that stage yet. I'm not at that stage of trading to just sort of, set alerts for key areas. I'm still in the learning phase of an entire 4-year cycle. So straight up, my $15,000 or $16,000 is not $55,000 or $56,000. And it's not that because, as I showed you yesterday, just for some of the examples, I'm still actually holding, and I'm really glad that I did set these smart trades up in my 𝗂𝗏 account, because it's just great to sort of keep an eye on it. But basically these altcoins, they did have good runs at different times. They were worth a lot more. But as of the 23rd of January, which was just after Trump's inauguration, and with that inauguration came what was called the Trump dump, because he put a meme coin out, would you believe? And that's a whole other story, but the markets crashed after that, and everybody lost faith in the Solana network, which actually holds a lot of the meme coins, which is where the Trump coin was. And yeah, so we had a big pump in the market in, pretty much from the election day, the day that, he got in, and it pumped right through into December, and then it started sort of declining. But then the actual really harsh nail in the coffin came pretty much around that January mark. It just started dying, the market's crashed. We might be able to see it on this chart over here again, if I can pull it up. 24, 25, April 25. Okay, let's go back to, there you go. You can see that in December and then in January, there was a big peak up to the top here at 109,000. And then she started just going all the way down and went down to 76,000. So that's Bitcoin alone. But the altcoins suffered dramatically. So I have got a document here of the 23rd of January. Here it is. I put these trades up. They're just spot trades. And this one's down 64%. This one's down nearly 60%. This one's down 50%. This one's just climbed up as of today. I mean, it was down at 60%. It's back up to 40. This one's 56. So they're just some examples of why it is that not only do I not have $55,000 or $56,000 at the moment worth of Bitcoin, I have probably got, if I look at all the losses that I had, and I'm not going to reveal that, but I can guarantee that it is less than what the Bitcoin was that I sold it at. Actually, that's not true. It would be about the same. It hasn't gone up too much, but I have withdrawn a hell of a lot over the last couple of years because we did have a lot of travel and some emergency trips and some weird travel expenses that came up, as well as moving and different things. But anyway, it's kind of like I'm starting again, is kind of how it is. So that's why I'm here on what I'm calling the Crypto Buddies vlog now, so I can kind of tell you about how I'm going to work towards recuperating, at least at this point in time, about $50,000 worth. That would be nice to go towards the nest egg and the portfolio. But from here on in, I will not be mentioning amounts at all. What I've got in my portfolio is just for me and Nat to know. It's not for everybody on social media to know. But I wanted to make that clear that A, it's not a good idea to share anything publicly, what it is that you've got. And B, just give you the really good example here that, yes, even if you think $50,000 is not a lot of money, or if you think it is a lot of money, it doesn't matter because I don't have it. So half a Bitcoin at the end of 2023 was only worth about $15,000 or $16,000. And I felt really wealthy at the time with that, and I thought it was going to definitely, at least 10x itself. But it hasn't done that because I made the wrong decisions. But learned a hell of a lot through this whole period. It's a good, 18 months later now. So come on the journey with us, and we'll see what happens. All right, we'll see you in the next video.